Let's talk. So, quick recap, real quick. Man, you guys know me. I've been saying all the last few days. Okay? Last few days, right? Ever since here, I said, oh, yo, sign of strength. Sign of strength on the market, sign of weakness on USDT. Ever since this distribution, okay? Raven also pointed this exact same thing out to you, okay? He had it actually, the actual path. I just told you guys sign of weakness. He had it like this. He had lower high, lower low. This was a distribution in itself and then breakdown. You guys know I've been talking about my Nexus zone for quite some time. I didn't think that this was going to give you this. I didn't think that this was going to give you this. I didn't think that this was going to give you this. We've been unapologetically bullish here, okay? Saying that we're going long, saying that we're going higher, okay? We're going higher. Told you guys don't get too bearish at the lows, and I've been beating to a pulp that the lows on Bitcoin are similar to the 74K low, okay? How many times did I say when we were down here, we were right here. When we were here, I was saying that this low is the low, and if not, I'm gay. Since here, okay? I said 106 comes before this. I even made a poll on Twitter around here, and I said, what comes first? It was actually right here. I said, what comes, or here maybe here. I don't remember where. One of the two. I said, what comes first, 100K or 106K? So, you know, it's undeniable that we've been saying that we're coming out here, or that we're going up, okay? Undeniable. Now, with that said, how did we get here and how are we interpreting things now? I also told you guys, I believe it was Friday, because Friday didn't stream. But I was still updating even though I was supposed to walk away. Even now, I'm supposed to come back on Monday, but it's okay. What did we say? We posted, like, if I come here and I go to my red list, okay? This. There's not one person in here that shouldn't be long right now. Not one person. There was PO3 after PO3 after PO3 after PO3 that I posted. Okay? We even were lucky enough to come back and get a back test on most of them. There is zero reason why anybody in here should have been shorting. Like on the higher grand scheme of things. Like scalping, fine, whatever. Okay? Right? Look, wow, look at Ordi. Damn. Wow. See, that's what we're waiting for. Holy smokes, I didn't see that. So that's what we're waiting for across the board, okay? They all look the same, right? We talked about this. I gave you guys an update about this. They all look the same. So what's going to happen to Ordi is likely going to happen to all of these. Okay. So that being said, what is my overall thought process on everything? Okay. Here, how did I come to this conclusion? After seeing these PO3s, look, we already established that, and I'm just going to use injective, but it's apply what I'm about to say on this alt for everything else. Raven, I agree with you. We're going to talk about that right now. Apply to the alts to everything else, okay? We don't need to come back for this wick. Alts have been getting absolutely destroyed this cycle. Okay, we do not need to come back for this wick. So we can play the inner components of this, which was what? Range, manipulation, expansion, okay? Simple, easy, sexy, sensual, beautiful cover girl. Like the commercial, okay? Beautiful. That being said, now this low, we do not need to come back for that low. If this low on anything, any coin that I showed you, we come back to here, in my opinion, the bull market is over. Okay? We come back here, we're done. Why on earth do we need to come and do this and then do that? We don't. Okay? Apply this on any coin. We do not need to come back for this low. Okay? That's the situation on altcoins. Now that happened at the same time that Bitcoin did its low, that everybody was so convinced that we were going lower. Listen to me, guys. At 74K, and you guys know, I was saying that this is very reminiscent of 74K. As soon as we put that low in, my brain was like, wait a second, Geo. We don't lose, we learn. I learned my lesson down here. Now, down here, I wasn't bearish down here, for the record. If anybody remembers, I was not bearish, but we did not long it up. I wasn't bullish yet because I wanted that low to go, but I wasn't bearish. I was like, guys, don't get too bearish at the low here. And we popped up. Now, I missed the move to the upside, but I don't lose, I learn. So the low now reminds me of 74K. Okay, fine. But here was the kicker, was that alts cannot go lower for me. Alts cannot go lower. They cannot go lower. They cannot go lower. Otherwise, the bull run is done. So if Bitcoin is at a low, which feels like the 74K low, which was the low, and alts cannot go lower, then there's only room for up. Up is the only way. And, you know, lo and behold, here we are. Okay? That's how I came to that conclusion. Now, I gave you guys an update earlier today, basically stating that this zone kind of blows also. So first of all, now I can clean some of this up. This zone kind of blows. At first, I liked 106. Even in the chat, listen, I was supposed to be gone. I'm not even supposed to be streaming right now. I was saying 106, 106, not before 106. Maybe we go down not before 106. 106, 106, 106, 106. Well, we hit 106. Okay. Here's the thing, though. Prior to me saying 106, 106, 106, 106, prior to all that, all this funky business never happened down here. Now, I don't like this because of these highs. So what I said this morning in a voice note is I think here we're going to get either a higher low, higher high and make our way up to 109. Or I think we're going to have a reaccumulation here of some form and then make our way to 109. I am now thinking that 109 is to come. The difference between now and... Or the difference now is I'm open to this, okay? Prior to 106, prior to this zone getting hit, I was not even open to the idea that we were going to come down here. Wasn't even open to it, okay? Now I'm open to the idea that this may happen. So that's fine. If you see a distribution here, I'm waiting for structure. If we see a distribution here, then yes, I'm going to short it. And I'm still going to keep my long open. By the way, for those who don't know, which I don't know if you probably will or may not, I am long on BTC. My heaviest long is ETHZ. And I am long on Dogecoin. Okay? Those are my 3 longs right now. So I kind of like this higher zone. Which means what? Just like when we were here and we hit something, I was like, well, you know, in Doge's retrospect here, I said I'm looking for longs, looking along Doge, whatever. It was somewhere here that I said that. Instead of thinking that this supply is going to push price lower, and some people were posting a PO3, not on Dogecoin, but on other coins. Instead of thinking that, I was thinking, hell no, this is a macro accumulation. What in the world are you shorting to? Not macro accumulation, my apologies. This was another reaccumulation after getting this PO3, right? We have our PO3 here. I think I just hid the boxes because I was actually trading it. But you have your PO3. Why in the world are you looking to short against a PO3? What are you doing? Okay. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same deal. I do think that we may find some resistance here. I do think that we may hang around here and range here. And if we see a distribution, 100% we're going to short it. But I actually think we're going to make our way up to here. And I think it'll happen relatively quick. So I would still, despite this very aggressive uptrend that we've had over the past few hours, I would still be very careful with the shorts. And I would probably still prioritize longing over shorting. Okay? So when we get a range here, what you can do here is the same thing that you could have done here if you were trading it. I wasn't actively trading Dogecoin today, but I did tell you guys I wanted to long from here, and look at what happened. Same deal, guys. Look, you hit supply. You have, look, this is where I, hold on, let me see. Right here, you hit supply. You had your range high, you had your range low. You came, you swept out the range. You swept out the range low right here. Let's go to like the 2-minute time frame. What do you have? This is right here. What do you have? On the 1, let's go to the 1. What is this, guys? Look how easy this is. If you were trading today and you were watching Doge because I told you to watch Doge, there was zero reason for you to not be long right here. Zero reason. Okay? So that's where I'm at right now. I think that alts have put in a low. I'm with Raven. Raven says it's time for alts to shine. I believe so as well. I do believe so. I do believe so. So let's go over Bitcoin dominance. What does Bitcoin dominance look like? The other day I posted that Bitcoin dominance is going to look like this soon, which I do think is going to happen. Which this is when it's explosive for alts. Yes, C. Kenan, you want to talk about alt season? Now we might seriously be getting alt season soon. Okay? Your first little burst of it is going to be when this drops to here. Okay? So what are we going to look for now? What do we look for now? This wick hit supply. I don't think we need to come back for this wick. I do not think we need to. Can we? Of course. The possibility is always you can. I do not think we need to come for this wick. So what do I have drawn out right now? Well, this is a distribution. That's it. Fuck me. That's a distribution clear as day. Okay. And this is the last unmitigated supply zone. So what may happen now is Bitcoin may finally grow some balls and make a large move while BSTD. BTC dominance does this. Maybe perhaps this continues to rise while it hits. What is this? What does this say, my friends? Zoom in with your eyeballs. Nuke zone. So if the market pumps right now, which it is, and Bitcoin dominance rises, that means Bitcoin will pump more than the altcoins, which is a possibility. Then the money rotates over to altcoins. And then you get that. Okay. So I think it would be very wise of you to watch this level here. Just like it was very wise of you to watch Dogecoin today when I told you to. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about anything that we just went over? I want to be very clear. I am very bullish on altcoins right now. Very, very bullish. I even told you guys, I'm not a big proponent of buying spot in the bull market, but I told you guys, pick your poison. You can buy whatever coin you want. Okay? What about the accumulation on USDT? Okay, that's a good question. Let's talk about the accumulation on USDT dominance. Here's the situation. Look. So, we've been tracking USDT dominance. Okay? USDT very clearly has a macro accumulation, right? But here's the deal. So, you know how we say there's no need for Bitcoin to go higher, which there isn't? Altcoins have a lot of reason to go higher, right? There's one reason that I see for USDT to go lower, and it is because this M2 zone... I'm gonna get rid of this. This M2 zone is actually gonna turn into an M1 right here. So, how would that look? I don't know how that's gonna look, but let's figure it out. Let's try to find a way that, like a, okay. If this, we're just gonna draw a box. I'm not gonna get that because it's messy. We're gonna call this the M1 whatever. What is a realistic path that fits this narrative? We're not gonna force it. We're gonna be real about it. Okay. First of all, where did we reject from is the question. And I don't know the answer to that question. So let's figure the answer out. Where did we reject from? Okay, I don't really know where we rejected from. I don't really know. What I will say though, here's what I will say, is that it looks like, guys, I've been using golden pockets lately. Don't ask, man. It looks like a golden pocket though. Yeah. There's your GP. There's your GPZ. Okay. So let's not cheat it though. You know, can we come back up here? Of course we can, right? Of course we can. But let's just assume for a moment we don't. Well, we have this PO3 drawn out from a long time ago, do we not? Did we not have this drawn out on November 4th? What day is today? What day is today? Today is November 9th. So 5 days ago, did we not have this drawn out? So if this PO3 plays out, okay, remember when we were here, when we were in this range, we were talking about potentially having a PO3 here down to that level. And then when I saw this on November the 4th, I said, what if this was always the PO3? So if this PO3 confirms, which it's kind of doing, for me to like truly get bullish, you need to lose this because that's your structure. Then what's your target? Your target is the other side of the range, right? So if your target is here, what can you bounce off of? We're going to do the realistic path. What can you bounce off of? You have like a little 12 Mickey Mouse block. It's not that good of a zone though. This is not, I mean, I don't see anything of real substance here, but let's not cheat it. This is your daily zone. You will likely get some reaction. I would actually be very shocked if you don't get a reaction out of here. So maybe you come down, you hit this, and then this is where you get either a redistribution or you come up, and then what would your structure look like at that point? It would be up, down, down, lower, high, lower, low. That's a possibility as well. Okay? So remember, we are trying to understand what our path towards this block could be. This block here. This block. What could it be? And it could be that. Right? It definitely could be that. I'm just going to increase this box and I'm going to turn this off. Okay? Could be that. I don't know. We're going to have to take it level for level. We're going to do what we do. But to you know, answer Raven's question, what about the accumulation? It could turn into a Model 1 accumulation. And Raven says, in my opinion, BTC is going to range and a few good alts are going to explode. I think we're here. I think it's alt season. I think we're here. And I've never really confidently said that until now. I do think that it is about to happen. The stars are aligned for it. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. Okay? If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. I'm bound to be wrong eventually. So far, lately, I've been nothing but right. We'll see. We will see. Any other questions? Okay. How about this? I would sub to you for 9 months and never paid attention to the server due to all the bearish bias, but it's really good. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And you know, I've had that feedback in the past. I've had that feedback before. You know, 74K. Like, listen, don't get it twisted. You guys, not you specifically, but you guys ripped me a new one when I was wrong down here. You know, when I was wrong at this. So for those who don't know, this whole range up until here, I would say up until here, up until there, I was right. And then here I was way wrong. So, you know, let's say 2/3 of the range I was right, and then the last third, I was wrong, and you guys didn't let me forget it, and I got better. You know, it's not that I soul-heartedly believed that it was gonna go lower. Like, I'm not meaning to misdirect, right? But I just got better. I learn. I don't lose. I learn. I say that. You know, I needed to learn. And I needed this to happen so that I can learn. But I really appreciate that feedback, man, because I've had that feedback before. You know, I've gone through like difficult times myself, and I'm very hard on myself, and I always want what's best for the Nexus and for myself as well. You know, I've had talks with my mods who are like, sometimes, dude, you're too like, you know, you're unable to remain objective. And I went back and I studied the range and I learned. Like, things happen, man. I learned, right? So I really, that comment is the best comment you could have given me. I really appreciate that. That is like such growth for me. So I really appreciate that, man. Thank you for that comment. Gio, I think the server sentiment changed for the people when people started being objective. Yeah. Like, my bearish bias was correct on altcoins. I just thought that what altcoins did is what Bitcoin was going to do as well. You know? But yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah, man, replace the pin. But that's like the best comment you could have given me. That's like a, you know how I'm always trying to like give advice to you guys and help as much as I can and give feedback and whatever. This one, man, this is the best one that you could have given me. This one right here. This comment, it means everything to me. If alts come, listen, I'm telling you guys, if alts come back to these lows that they put in a couple days ago, the bear market is here. We have no reason to come back for these PO3s. If alts come back to these PO3s, nope. See you later. So you want your filter? That's your filter. If alts come back here, you're done. You're done. Bull market is done. Because we already went over that alts can't afford to go lower. They can't. In my opinion. So that is, you know, that is why it's important to understand. What's up, Ty? Why it's important to understand what's happening. It's important to try to be as objective as possible. You know, like in the chat, I was saying that I will die on my sword if that low wasn't in on Bitcoin, right? I was so stubborn about it. Anyway, that's all I'm saying, you know, and it's okay to not know what's going on, guys. There's sometimes I don't know what's going on. Last week I had the worst stream in Nexus history, and I was like, oh, fuck this. I'm not even gonna look at it. I don't even want to do it. And I felt like I let everybody down that day. So that's something that I need to work on, because I know when I don't want to look at it, but I feel as though, man, like you guys might be like, dude, we're here, we're paying for a service. It's like if you pay for Netflix and then you just can't use Netflix on this day. That's how I felt on that day, but I also can't force anything, you know? So it's kind of a, like there's a balance, right? Like I need to provide the service that you're paying for. I owe you that. I'm here to serve you, but there are days where it's like, yo, fuck all of this. Anyway, that was the worst stream in Nexus history. I need to understand that we really appreciate your wins and losses. This Discord is all on the same page and trying to understand why we lost a trade and turning it into a winning trade. Thanks, Legend. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Thank you. This is the reason I say everybody in here needs to have a weekly risk to reward goal. This will help you with burnouts, losses, and a lot of things. I agree. I do absolutely agree with that. 100%.